It's really intense. I'm not embarrassed to say that I find it really frightening. You're not in there for very long, so you have to use all your senses to figure out what's happening. Your team, everybody needs to be on the same page. Where is cover? What's your exit plan? What's our strategy for how we're getting out of here? How long are we staying here? And what's our comfort level? If there's someone on the team who's not happy with the plan, it's not happening.
I was fast asleep when the invasion began, like probably most people in Ukraine. It started just before 5 a.m. in the morning. Something woke me up, and then a colleague banged on my door. To be honest, you didn't really have much time to think about it because adrenaline kicked in, but we also knew that we were going to have to be on air pretty quickly. We went down into the streets, which were really quiet, and it was really in the days that followed that the city started to feel so eerie because so many people had left, were leaving, and stayed off the streets. A lot of people were, of course, down in the subways.
It depends where you are. So if you're in a place like this one, Keith, reliably you can find hotels with power and water. The closer you get to the front, the less likely that is. So you might find a hotel, but it doesn't have any water, or maybe you're sleeping at the home of a family. When you're talking about really the front, like Bakhmut or Volodar, you're not staying there. So you may drive 3 to 4 hours in, do your work, drive 3 to 4 hours out again. As for food, we like to bring a lot of our own, and sometimes we end up eating at a lot of gas stations.
Boy, it really varies on where you are. Some people are still living in the towns and the villages along the front lines. It's very noisy there, lots of shelling, no water, electricity, and aid in some places only gets in like once a month. In the towns and cities, you can actually feel very far away from the war. There are coffee shops and bars, but of course the war hasn't gone away, and outside the sound of the air raid sirens always going to remind you of what might be coming flying through the air towards you.
We've interviewed a number of children wanting to know what the war looks like through their eyes, and I can honestly say that I have never seen children with such old eyes, because of the things that they've witnessed, because of what they've gone through, and because of the burdens that they've carried. And in some cases, they're having to do it alone. We spoke to psychologists who tell us that some children are seeking help without their parents.
Absolutely. This is the sort of assignment where you have to be really careful about your location. So we will make sure we turn off our location services on our phones. You're not wearing Apple Watches, for example, to a front line. We're certainly not using a satellite phone when we're in some sensitive positions, because somebody might ping you and then might put everyone else, including yourself, at risk. So definitely, this is one where you really have to be careful.
Well, that's a good question. Not many people have asked it. What I can tell you is that every time you step outside the door in this country, there are compelling stories, and often they're sad. What I have noticed among colleagues is that they're taking longer to process what they've seen. And like the Ukrainians that they're covering, they're tired.